Hello, Miss Catherine. What brings you in today?
Well, Erica, I am feeling a little overwhelmed. Yeah, with work, being working full time and going to school full time, and being a newly married individual, I'm feeling overwhelmed. Yeah.
Tell me about this overwhelming feeling.
Well, it's like sometimes I feel like I may have took on a little bit of too much, a little bit too much responsibilities. But when I think about it, anything that's worth having is gonna be worth. It's gonna be a struggle. It's gonna be a struggle. So
That's good. I can see you see the positive out of it, which is good. So tell me a little bit more about this stress that you are experiencing.
I think what my stress level comes in at is not that I can't do the work. It's just that I have a little problem with my writing skills, and I have sometimes I have a problem asking for help. But I think when I ask for help, then that helps me.
Tell me a little bit about this wanting to ask for help. What does that look like?
Well, it's just that I want to try it on my own because that's the kind of person I am. I feel like if I do it, I'll learn more, better if I do it. But sometimes we do have to ask for help, and I guess it just stems back to being a child. I've never asked for help. Everything that I've done, I managed to do it on my own, and it's kind of hard for me to ask for help. And I tend to care about other people than I care about myself. I put other people's first. That's what I'm talking about.
So because you are feeling overwhelmed, you are experiencing overwhelming thoughts and emotions, you kind of um, contradict, not contradict, but you're experiencing, you saying that they could possibly come from childhood experiences.
Yeah, I think so because I was kind of a shy person. I really didn't make a lot of friends, so I kind of stayed to myself. And I think that's where some of my problems came in at, because I was real shy. And sometimes now I can be shy. I will talk and express myself, but a lot of time I find myself being real quiet because I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Tell me more about your childhood. I want to know about your childhood.
Well, I had four other siblings. My oldest sister, and I have two older brothers, myself, and I also had a baby brother, which is deceased now. So it was five of us. But me being next to the baby child, I kind of didn't have that role model. Like my sister, she left and she left the home early. So I didn't have that role model of having a big sister. I was kind of raised with my brothers, and they kind of toughened me up and, had me being riding bikes and riding horses, instead of playing with dolls and doing the girl stuff.
So the overwhelming feeling that I want to go back to the overwhelming feeling as with your classes. Um, tell me about that. Tell me a little bit more about what are some thoughts that comes to play immediately when you feel that overwhelmed, when you experience that overwhelm.
Well, sometimes when I feel like I'm overwhelmed, I tend to want to stop and do something different. But then once I think about it and assess the situation, then the stress level is still there, but it's not so intense.
What are some triggers that give me some examples of some trigger points that might have something to do with that overwhelming?
I think it's more of like when I'm at work and we have like a project that's very important to me that needs to be done in a timely manner. I mean, I'm very organized, I believe. I'm very organized, but when I don't, oh God, oh, when I'm very organized, And I like the things to be done on time and in a timely manner. So when I feel like I'm up against the time, that's when the pressure really.
So basically, reiterate what you say. So when you, because you mentioned that you have a lot of ways of taking on more than what you can handle, and um, that's what causes the stress. That's what causes the overwhelming, just taking on a little bit more. Tell me more about just how you can how you can um, transfer that emotion into something else, giving yourself positive feedback.
Well, I can take some time for myself,
Mm-hmm.
you know, do some me time,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and just not think that everything is overwhelming, you know, not have that thought there. Just deal with it as it comes, one day at a time, and then I won't be so overwhelmed.
Have you ever done any things that have allowed you to handle those emotions? Give, I want to hear some of those
Yes, I
things.
been, you know, doing different activities with my children, going to church,
Mhm.
spending time with my family. That's very important to me. And just being able to just get off to myself and just think and meditate.
Right.
That helps me.
Okay. So you mentioned that your childhood um, and the experiences that not growing up with a sister.
Well, I had a sister,
Okay.
but she was the oldest. She is the oldest out of five of us. But she kind of left the home early, so I didn't have that big sister role model. So it was kind of like, you know, my brothers was there, you know, and you know how boys are sometimes. They can be a little rough, you know, so I kind of was kind of a tomboyish, you know, because I was raised up with those three boys.
Do you? How do you? How do you experience? How do you? How was your childhood growing up? Rather not being around more girls, more.
Well, and like I say, I was a very shy person. I made friends, but you know, I kind of stayed to myself a lot. And I was, as a child, I would always try to help people. You know, I would go and take walks with my friend, my best friend, and we would see people like on the tracks, on the railroad tracks, and I would bring them home. And I want mom to feed them, you know. I say feed them. I was always bringing people home for my mom to feed them. And she would tell me all the time, you just need to stop bringing these strange people to the house. You can't help everybody, you know. So I was kind of a loner, but I would always try to help people and do things for other people.
See. So you like to help people.
Yes.
You get overwhelmed when you feel not when you feel, but when you experience a lot of uncomfortable emotions, and you just immediately want to quit. You mentioned that you wanted to quit. Tell me about that. What triggers that?
It's when I mean I don't want to quit. I don't give up because I have like a lot of support as far as my family. They are very supportive, but it's just that sometime in my mind when I feel like I got this project due, I got this assignment due, I got this due. When it's too many things going on at one time, that's when I want to say, well, I just want to give up and just don't worry about none of it. But then when I have the time to sit back and think about that thought, then I don't want to give up. You know, it can be done. I just have to find a way to manage, you know, do this particular thing and then do this particular, you know, not just try to bunch everything together. Try to work it, you know, each situation as it presents itself to me.
So I hear some positive enforcement that you give yourself when you are experience this unstable and um, emotional emotional bit just reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So you're able to handle that. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. How else can you um, handle those things?
Well, other ways that I handle it is I guess just going to church and praying and reading my Bible and and talking to. I have a friend that's she's so wonderful. And when I'm feeling overwhelmed or I'm just feeling like I just can't go anymore, I always call and talk to her because I don't have my mother's deceased. So when I call her and talk to her, it just seems like everything is okay. It just seems like what I needed to hear, she would tell me. And then, I can go a little bit further once I talk to her. And those feelings are not so strong to where I just want to give up, just forget about everything. So when I'm feeling like that, I kind of call on her.
Tell me about that relationship with her.
Well, we have been in relation. She's been my best friend for over 20 years. She's a little bit older than I am and very wise. I feel like she's very wise. So, and we get along real good, and we have a lot in common. When we sit down and talk, we realize that we have a lot in common from in the past to up until the future. We have a lot in common. And we attend church together. Before I got married, we did mostly everything together. We were always together at different functions, you know, anniversary, weddings, picnics, whatever. We was together. So it was like she was my second mom.
How did you all meet?
Well, we actually met my mom. She was a friend of my mom's, and I was at my mom's house one day, and she was there, and we started talking, and we've been friends ever since. And then a couple years later, she ended up coming to the church that we both are now members. So
So has she? What are some things that she gives you to? How does she advise you to handle these stressful feelings? Not feelings, but how does she?
well, from her
These
perspective,
emotions.
she
Just
tells
these emotions.
emotions. She tells me, well, you need to pray. First, that's where she started out from. She don't never give advice. She always tell me I need to pray and I need to meditate and think on positive thoughts, not the negative part of it. What's positive. And I always look at stuff with a positive attitude. That's what she tells me.
It's good that you're able to stay positive.
Yeah.
It seems like you're working it out, regardless of those emotions that you experience. That you can still have some type of support.
Hmm.
Support is good, and that's what's important. So I want to know more about who you are, just as a person, and because you mentioned that you always like to help people.
Hmm.
How is that? How is that?
Well, it's
What
like
is that?
Well, like now, all my life I wanted to help people, but through the journey and the course of my life and the positions that I've had on my jobs or in my home, it's always been helping other people. I work with the teenagers, I work with the children in the children's shelter. I did that, and then I worked in the hospital. I worked with the sick, and now I'm working with the aged and disabled, so it's like I'm always helping people. I'm always there as a resource and to help people find what they need. So and I enjoy what I do. I enjoy what I do.
Have you? That's good. Have you ever experienced any stressful situations while on the job?
Oh yes. I've faced a lot of stressful situations. Um, the job that I'm currently at, is that where? Okay, so yeah, because I deal with the aged and disabled, so a lot of time there's a lot of abuse, and when we go into the homes and we find out about it, we have to report it. Well, and most of the time it's a family member, and that's a hard thing to do to report someone for. I mean, it's not hard because you feel sorry for the individual, but when you have to report the person that's supposed to be taking care of that individual, that's kind of tough. It's tough. I get upset, when I see it happening because you were there. You're supposed to take care of your mother and father, but I have to do it. I have to report them.
So is that same emotion that you experience on the job Is that the same emotions you experience when you're trying to get assignments done in school?
Yeah, yeah. If I feel like it's a lot to be done, and I have a limited time to do it, then I start to feel that rush.
You start to
Yeah,
experience
it's
that,
yeah. I start to experience that overwhelmness. You know, just for that
that
time.
reaction,
Yes,
not
yes.
that feeling, but that reaction.
The reaction of, this is a lot. You know, but I didn't come into grad school thinking it was gonna be easy. You know, I knew that I work full time. You know, I know the good thing is that I don't have kids at home, so that's the good thing. But I knew what I was getting into before I got into it. I mean, I didn't know it was gonna be this tough. You know, I knew it wasn't gonna be easy, but I didn't know it was gonna be this tough.
Well, just to reiterate before our session is almost ended, you mentioned that you experience a lot of emotional, um, just reactions to when you feel overwhelmed, and then you mentioned that you like to just kind of meditate and go to church. I that's good. It's good that you're able to handle that in that type of area.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep on doing that, and definitely look forward to seeing you next session.
Okay, thank you, Erica.
You're welcome.
Okay.